Ahoy there folks, I'm Captain Benzie and welcome to another video for Eve Echoes. Now, a few weeks ago I did a video looking through the suggestions channel on the official Eve Echoes Discord, and a lot of you folks seemed to really quite enjoy that one. So I thought, let's do a round two. I went onto the suggestions channel to have a look at some stuff, and there are actually some really interesting discussion points here. So, well, yeah, that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to spend the next 20 or so minutes having a look through the suggestions channel on the official Eve Echoes Discord and going through with my thoughts and opinions on those. I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on these various different suggestions. Of course, get onto the Eve Echoes Discord and you can actually upvote and downvote them as well, adding your own say to things. Now, before we jump in, please be aware that I am merely challenging the concepts here, not the individual people. Some brilliant players have stupid ideas, and some players that I just don't get on with have some absolutely fantastic ideas. So if your idea is one of the ones that I have on here, and you hear me naysaying it, I'm not calling you stupid, I'm merely challenging the idea. Hopefully we can add that layer of separation. I don't want to upset anyone here, I just want to talk cleanly, openly, and fairly about everything that we see. So, if you enjoy it, please hit like, otherwise, let's jump straight in. So our first suggestion, we're going to start at the bottom and work our way up. Add capital size remote shield booster for the Rorqual. That's getting a downvote. The Rorqual is an industrial ship. It is not a Force Auxiliary. Force Auxiliaries are the capital logistics vessels. Adding that to the Rorqual basically replaces Force Auxiliaries, which are actually something I don't think we need in the game yet anyway. I could do an entire video on that. I've had some really quite interesting discussions in the Catskull Discord recently about Force Auxiliaries. I think they are absolutely a terrible idea at this point. Eventually to Eve Echoes, yes. Right now, not a good idea, and I'll probably do a video on exactly why that is later on, but essentially, as Jade Zion put in my comment section, it's a very niche ship that almost no one's going to use and drastically changes the landscape of nullsec. It basically, in my opinion, would invalidate a lot of tier 9 and lower players. Basically, nullsec would become capitals only in regards to large-scale warfare, which to me is just not a good thing. Moving on, question number 2. Add cargo containers. Hell yes, this is getting an upvote already. Currently, it's not possible to sort items in the warehouse apart from filter added by the game. Possibility to sort things better, dividing them into containers for other things, would be used by a large number of people. I'm not going to go through all of this. Genuinely, in EVE Online, I love station containers. They are special items that industrialists can build. You can sell them. They are big in the cargo hold, so they're difficult to transport. But when you drop one into your station inventory, you can then name it, and you can sort of lock it in place, if that makes sense. It's a big container that you can put stuff in, and it means that for me, for example, when I'm docked at Thera, I can have a station container that is just for ammunition and drones, another one that's for different filaments, another one that's for the different fittings that I use. You can actually have one for high slots, mid slots, low slots if you wanted to go that extra mile to sort your inventory. Basically, you buy these containers, you put them into your hangar, you then add other items into them, you can rename them, and they would form additional on the left hand side, like where it says, you know, inventory, ship hangar, station hangars, that kind of thing, and then you get like your Corp 1, Corp 2, Corp 3, Corp 4 below. You would just have ones that you yourself have named below inventory. Hell yes, all for this, get that added in later as soon as possible. New modes of faction warfare. This is an interesting one. I'm going to go with an upvote on this because yes, I think new modes should be added. I do honestly think new modes are coming, and no, I've not been told anything by the developers, genuinely. But ultimately, the more modes that you have active at any one time, the longer those queues are going to be, because you're splitting the faction wargames community between multiple modes. More modes, but on a cycle, definitely. Corporation citadels are useless for the alliances. No, they're not. They benefit only the Corp, except for an ability to dock and modules that increase basic system characteristics, like PDA for FRP, FSFRQ, QFRT, spawning ability, or base level increasing module. Why not make level 4 citadels have the same amount of energy for modules, but would benefit the whole alliance? No. I'll come to that in a sec. And would not be transferable to corporations without alliance would drop to level 3 if transferred, because as of now, everybody's constantly asking for Corp citadels capitals to share bonuses, but you do nothing in that way. Okay, so here's a thought. Maybe if people keep asking for something and the developers say, look, we know you want it, but we're not doing it, maybe, just maybe, there might be a reason for that. And ultimately, the story I would tell is of Void. Back in the day, we had our first corporation Citadel anchored right at the heart of Innsmother, and basically everyone docked at that Citadel. Everyone. If you were a miner, an industrialist, a shipbuilder, if you were combat, PvE, or PvP, you would dock at that one station because it was stupidly easy to defend if everyone was already there at that one defensive point. You would then just rat in that system, or maybe one over if you were being particularly daring, and mining was all done in that one system, because if you then add bonuses to the entire alliance, that's what we're going to have. The idea of having multiple corporation citadels, each of them with their own bonuses applying to only their corporation, is to force us to spread out over space, right? It's to stop us grouping up into one freaking system, or maybe one constellation at best. It's to get you to actually spread out across the entire region that you're in and spread people thinly. This creates conflict. This is reasons for us to go to war. It makes it harder to defend and easier to attack, which makes more PvP, which is more ship destruction and theoretically more economic cycling in the game. Ultimately, if you changed it so that corporation citadels can benefit the entire freaking alliance, well, you're going to crush everyone back into the one or two systems that they were flying in before. Bad idea. Stop asking for it. Developers have said they don't want to do it. That is why they don't want to do it. And if you're saying, well, we keep asking but you're not listening, maybe it's because they have a better understanding of the game environment than we as individual players might otherwise. I don't know. Unlocking salvage skills. Yes, please give us those skill chips. I don't give a crap anymore. People who spent billions on those, sorry. They've spent it, they've had that ahead of time. Add them to the skill book, just let everyone use them. They're skills, that's an important thing. I'd like to suggest adding faction capitals. Ooh, okay, this is an interesting one again. Faction capitals, I'm actually going to upvote this, but with an addendum. I would like to suggest adding faction capitals. Yes, I think faction capitals are probably the next best capitals to build. I think force auxiliaries are the wrong idea, as we've talked about earlier in this video and across many others, but I think faction capitals, if you are insistent on adding new capital ships, which I'm going to say now, I really don't think we should. I think there is so much more content that is more important to have added and or fixed than more freaking capitals, but if you are absolutely insistent that we need yet more bloody capitals, make it the faction ones, because something like a Chemosh or a Cayman isn't that much better than a standard capital, but it costs like 3 times the amount. Like, think of how a Tech 9 battleship compares to a faction battleship in costs and effectiveness. That's kind of what you're looking at here with things like the Cayman, the Chemosh, and all the others that you would have for the faction capitals. I think that those could be an interesting addition, because they would allow people who are desperate for a new capital to have that bling capital to fly, but they're not as game-changing as force auxiliaries or super capitals. So yeah, I think faction capitals are a good idea, assuming that you just have to add some form of capital. If it's a case of, oh, we need a capital, go for faction capitals first. Can you claim rigs without ship insurances? No. It's very useful if we only want the rigs. It's almost like rigs are supposed to be destroyed when, like, you try to take them out, right? It's almost like rigs are one of the few bits of our market that is currently actually working as intended. This would, again, attacking the idea, not the player, would utterly tank the rig market. No. Ultimately, if people are going to be destroying ships in order to get rigs back, at least that's consuming like the gross amounts of gift IP that we have first and foremost. Do that, not just the ability to take rigs out of a ship. Bad idea. Can I keep clicking this and upvote it further? No, I can't. That needs 14 is the highest we go. Take the limits off encounters. A sandbox game shouldn't feel like you're playing in a box. It's called a sandbox for a reason, is what I would say there. The limits off encounters are there to stop people grinding the same pointless crap all day, every day. If you are hitting 50 freaking high-sec encounters a day, go off and do something else. Seriously, try anything else in the game, because you're going to be sitting on such a pile of ISK that, let's be fair, it doesn't matter if you lose anything anymore. What is that ISK doing for you? You're boring yourself stupid, sitting in Claralam, just ratting yourself into oblivion. God, that's got to be the most boring way to play the game. And okay, you can sit there and say, oh, but I should be allowed to do what I want. It's a sandbox. Yeah, but when what you want to do is also really damaging the game, because one, it's just for, constant ISK force it running and adding more ISK into the environment that is not anywhere else being deleted. Yeah, that's bad for the game. When you've got a ship that you have bought and you've fully fitted and now you don't want to buy any more ships and you're just earning more ISK, that's taking away consumption from the game, which is also a bad thing. So yes, sandbox games should allow you to do what you want to do, unless what you want to do is basically destroy the game, at which point it is good game design to stop players from doing that, capiche? Change autopilot mechanics in offline mode. Oh god, I'm going to hate this one, aren't I? If you use autopilot for low sec, even though the game is off and the target's not a station, you can lose a ship without much sense. The sense is that you are autopiloting through low sec without setting a station as a destination. Da! The player can scan it even though you're not in the game at all. Yeah, that's kind of the point. You've got a 15-minute window, by the way. It's not like a huge one. Do this or give the player warnings when using autopilot for low sec, null sec, and they always mark the target as station. No, the game does give you warnings, you absolute fool. The game does give warnings. You've probably just ticked that warning and said, don't show me again. Or make it always target as a station. But what if I don't want to autopilot to a station? What if I just want to autopilot to a gate, Maybe some of us want to autopilot while online and just it takes you to the gate so that you can do what you need to do, like scanning, for example, and then go from there. I don't want to have to set an autopilot whilst scanning, which I do. I plot a route through sort of an A point and a B point. I then autopilot on, and then I pause the autopilot briefly if I find something, and so on and so forth. I don't want to have to dock at every bloody station en route. That's horrific. Or just even the end station. I don't want to dock at the end station. Oh god, this makes me angry, because it's people who want to play the game without playing the game. Like, at this point, just give your phone to someone else and let them play. Seriously. Clearly you don't want to. Anyway, genuinely attacking the idea here, not the person. It's such an infuriating idea. E.g. on encounter where the game itself processes autopilot to the target, but if you cannot enter the game for various reasons after reaching the location, you lose the ship because someone scanned it. I want to know how it makes sense. Please change this mechanics. Let the ship, after completing offline autopilot, stay at the gate and log it out in the safe space, or let it dock to the nearest station. That's what it does! After completing offline autopilot, it logs out to a safe space. The thing is, you're in low sec, so it doesn't disappear instantly, because that's the freaking point, you moron. We're sitting in a situation here where people are complaining that ultimately the game is not holding their hands enough. This is EVE. If you want to autopilot to a null sec, through null sec or low sec, then set it as a station for the destination. Don't ask the game to automatically do it for you. For crying out loud, do one and just downvote. Again, how can I just, can I, I'm a moderator on the official Discord, can I just delete this one? Please, in future, Corp sign-up events, allow all members of the Corp to buy Aurum, yes, Plex, or contribute in parts of the total needed. It's crazy to say one player in the Corp has to pay the real-life cost all on their own, or having to use external services like PayPal to contribute, which skirts rather close to RMT. Yeah, wholeheartedly agree on this one. This recent event has actually really quite annoyed me in how poorly it's been handled and how little we've had. There have been so many complaints about this from the content creators, from the moderators, from the community. You'd think the developers might have put a statement out and changed something by now. I don't know. This one is a real feel-bad moment for me, but let's move on. Please add turret tracking sprites. I'm on a Galaxy Tab S8, and when I zoom into my Aura, the turrets aren't even tracking the enemy ships and stay stationary when shooting. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna... controversial upvote, but Again, this is a low priority thing. I think EVE is such a beautiful game that you want to play on high settings, zoomed in and make it look as pretty as possible. And yeah, I kind of agree that when you've got turrets pointing forwards and like they're shooting behind them, most turrets actually do track. Turrets and missiles do track for the most part, but not always. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It's a bug that I think needs fixing. There's plenty of videos you can see of mine where I've zoomed in the combat sections. You can see the turrets tracking and shooting, but they don't always. And yeah, I think that's an issue sometimes. Don't know if it's asked earlier, but can we get the option to delete saved fittings? Yes, let's do that. Nice, easy. Apparently I've been through these and upvoted them already. This, I think, is a really nice quality of life change. Should be fairly straightforward to add. I think that's good. Give us faction warfare rank for the dedication of spending time in the queue. Say 5 people points per minute. Yeah, I downvoted this one before. I don't think you should get like reputation points and things like that. I don't think you should get rank, especially for sitting in a queue. That's just entitled. And look, I know those queue times are horrible. I really know that those queue times are horrible. So let's fix the mode, not give everyone freebies for sitting around in a queue. Like, no, come on. Adding an option in the inventory menu to sort items by their estimated market values would be a nice addition. Yeah, I think more additions to how you can sort, always a good thing. Add an in-game voice chat for Corporation and Fleet. Corporation and Fleet leaders can moderate the chat based on their own rules and their own judgment so that no random person is targeted in voice chats. Also, please fix chats, they're buggy as all hell. This one, I upvoted. I don't know why this has so many downvotes. We are all basically using Discord. Now, this means if you want to play EVE on EVE Echoes, you have to download Discord as well if you want to be involved in fleets. And what's the point in that? And with the whole downvote thing, the fun point here is that the Chinese server actually has this. The Chinese server does not have the auto-translate that we do on Aurora. On Aurora, we have that ability, if you're an Omega pilot, to tap the little A and it will auto-translate whatever someone has been saying to you into your own language. That's an amazing addition. On the Chinese server, they also have voice comms, and wholeheartedly this should be in the game. A game like EVE, that is designed around players working together, should have voice channels. Periodically bring back DIR as a game mode for faction war games. It was a fun way to test equipment to experiment with ships and fittings. But take it one step further, add matchmaking based on ship class. This will help delay the game mode from becoming stale. I agree with this. I think that's a good way of doing it, and it certainly sucked coming into one of those faction war games, DIR reflection games, and you're 3 of you in frigates and decies going up against a bunch of Vindicators or Balgorns and crap like that. It's not fun. It's really not fun. So do it the old-fashioned faction war game Plex style from EVE Online. Give us like a frigate size, a small size that will take frigates and destroyers. Give us a medium that will take cruisers and battle cruisers, and a large size that takes up to battleships. Absolutely, that should happen. Clear Sky core for the Orca, please. Now again, this has got a decent amount of upvotes and downvotes either way. I actually went for the upvote on this one, because I think that's an interesting idea, going back to some of the older nanocores and adding some of the newer ships. I think, yeah, the Orca definitely needs cores, because the only core for the Orca currently is the one from the Illusory Ghost event, and it does kind of suck that the only core you could get was a big spender core. So yes, I think we need a nano core for the Orca, and I think adding it to the Clear Sky core would be a pretty cool way of doing it. Add it to the Clear Sky list, bring back the Clear Sky list, that way we're not just creeping with whole new nano cores all the time. Ion Disruption Type Capital Nanocore. I'm not even sure what that means. Let's move on. Drake 2, Harbinger 2, Brutix 2, Cyclone 2 went, I was with you until that one. Logistics, Command and Guardian roles are great, but the Battlecruiser class needs more mainline combat options for PvE and PvP. Cruisers and battleships have these variant options. No, they don't, sort of. Destroyers have Assault 2 variant options. A Battlecruiser's going to get these options in the future. I think I've upvoted this already. Yes, I have. This would be the Drake Fleet issue, Drake Navy issue, Harbinger Navy issue, Brutix Navy issue, and Hurricane Navy issue. The Cyclone 2 Command is already absolute beast. announced. The Hurricane, Brutix, Harbinger, and Drake need their Navy issue variants. These would be dedicated combat variants, possibly with an additional high slot and some lock-on bonuses and stuff like that, like you see between, say, the Thrasher and the Thrasher fleet issue, the Caracal and the Caracal fleet issue, Navy issue, that kind of thing. Absolutely, those are in EVE Online. We've got some nice E-War variants at Tech 10 that were removed from the game for some reason. I did do a video on like the Hurricane E-War. It's an amazing looking ship, but they got rid of it. Drop the E-War bonuses, just give it a bit more combat, repackage that as the Hurricane fleet issue, then the Harbinger, Brutix, and Drake Navy issues. Hell yes. Add a corporate calendar like for EVE Online, better organisation. Yes, again, I don't know why this has so many downvotes. An in-game calendar would be amazing, that you could add events to say, look, this is what's happening, guys, let's get together and have fun. I think, again, EVE, it's a community-based game, right? So we should be having tools that help the community come together. Custom names for hangars. I actually upvoted this. I'm going to keep that upvote, although I think the station containers that we mentioned earlier is a better option. We have multiple rigs that buff the same ship stats, such as heatsink modules and laser collision rigs. We have poly rigs and inertial stabilizers. Why can we not have the same duplicate rigs to affect weapon tracking, tracking computer, and... Okay, really badly worded question. That should have been, like, I don't know why they didn't just say, why don't we have a tracking rig? And yeah, you should. In EVE Online, we have tracking rigs. They're really, really useful. That said, there is a part of me that says, I think medium tracking is still too good. I think large tracking is definitely too good. Ultimately, I think we need to slow all the ships down like we had in the April balance patch. No, I won't shut up about it. I think we need to slow ships down like that because that fixed so many things. And if you find that mediums and large turrets are tracking too well, nerf them just a little bit. Or actually nerf them quite a bit and then add tracking rigs. Cruisers shouldn't really be shooting frigates. That's not the point of them. Battle cruisers should be struggling to hit frigates. Battleships should be very much struggling to hit frigates. And before someone says they already do, no they don't. They struggle to hit interceptors. There's a difference. If you think that an assault frigate can get up to a battleship and the battleship can't handle it, I don't know what to say to you other than, do you even play this game, bro? Ultimately, though, that brings us to 20 minutes. I definitely think that we should get tracking rigs, but I think we should also be nerfing tracking at the same time. Little bit counterintuitive, I know, but there's some really cool suggestions in there. Some really angry suggestions. Again, please, if you're watching this and I've just kind of crapped all over your suggestion, understand that I do it with the health of the game at heart first and foremost. I think that I can understand why people want certain things in the game, like that autopilot one, but at the same token, stop trying to get the game to make up for the fact that you just made a dumbass decision. I'm not going to pretty that up. If you've autopiloted to a low-sec system that had a station, you didn't autopilot to the station, and then you complained that you lost your ship, that's on you. It's like the guy who AFK piloted a rattlesnake through nullsec, but was like, oh, it's totally fine because I've got a load of inertial stabilizers in the low slots. No one can catch me, right? Yeah, well, spoiler alert, he got caught and blown up whilst offline autopiloting. You don't sit there and say, well, why is it that interdictor bubbles can catch me when I'm offline? That's not fun. You just kind of have to accept that the game works the way the game works, and that players need to accept those things. We can't change the game to make up for our stupid decisions. This is EVE. We all make stupid decisions. When you make a stupid decision, learn from it and don't do it again. And quite frankly, I think most of us are sitting on more than enough ISK that we can quite comfortably replenish any ship that we do lose. And if you're not sitting on enough ISK, well, it's going to sting for a little bit, but you'll learn that lesson, you won't do it again, and it'll feel all the better when you get that ship back through whatever content you're doing otherwise. Let me know your thoughts and opinions though, folks. I would love to hear what you think about all of these in the comment section down below. Remember, anyone commenting on my EVE Echoes videos is in with a chance of winning a month of Combo Omega every single week. 3 people win a month of Combo Omega every single week, so do keep those notifications on in case you are selected and I choose you. Do also join the Cat's Gold Discord. 2 people are chosen from there every week to win a Combo Omega, and there's some really cool conversations going on. Anyway, folks, thank you for listening to this one right the way through to the end. I look forward to reading to your comments and replying. Happy sailing, and see you in New Eden.